So Cindy, as we're talking about the consultants and how much is on their plates, and you sort of heaped some more on them today through all that, how does a self-insured employer know, that the benefits consultant is doing a good job at this stuff, right? How do you separate those who are fantastic from those who are merely good?
So I'll give you a scorecard to
A
use.
scorecard. Well, that's practical and actionable. We like that on this panel.
So, first and foremost, I think, Luke, kind of bouncing off of something you said, your consultant has to understand that you as an employer are in the business of healthcare. You really are, whether you want to be or not, but you are. And then it's not just healthcare. It is the resilience and the productivity, but it's also the things, Luke, you talked about, the social determinants and the diversity, equity, and inclusion. So first and foremost, your consultant has to understand those those parameters. It's not, again, one thing. So, but the scorecard of what I would come in to grade your consultant on is, number one, the strategy development. And do they have the talent that is across multiple pieces of healthcare and social determinants and workforce productivity and wellness? You have to throw that in there too, I think, Luke. You would probably think so. But it's not like you've got one person in the consulting firm that's going to know those things. You need the financial acumen, you need the Mabes of the world around that table. So it really takes a consultant village to develop that strategy. So I would look at, how does the strategy match my culture and my desires, and have they listened to what is important to me? They might tell me some things that I've said not important, but that balance of once we decide what's important. So the strategy development. Equally important, I think, to use your consultant and to grade them on how have they helped me execute the strategy. Because how many people have a beautiful strategic plan that sits in their desk and you blow the dust off of it? So the stakes are too high in cell and gene therapies to have a beautiful strategic plan that is not executed upon. So that's another component.
So they have to be aware of all these tactics, like we heard before in some of the first questions, right? How do you deal with the coding? How do you deal with the network creation? What do you do if they have to travel to a center of excellence? They really have to know those details, not just, we'll do some performance contract, or we'll, make sure the stop loss is aligned with the benefit design or the plan that we're dealing with. You want a little more depth out of them, it sounds like.
It has to. This is complicated stuff, and you need those experts that have the talent that know that. Another expertise you're looking for is understanding pharmaceutical manufacturer contracting and the data requirements that go into that. That is another whole just specialized area that's you need that expertise. But so the development of the strategy, the execution of the strategy, that includes, how well have they helped you manage your vendor, that vendor oversight? How do they help you? How good at they are giving you actionable insights from the analytics, whether the consultant's doing the analytics, whether the employer's doing the analytics, whether your TPA is doing the analytics, or the farmer's doing, whoever's doing it. How do they bring that all together to make it useful and meaningful to you as the employer? And I would also say just that measuring and that monitoring is absolutely vital. And some employers will use their consultants to do that, others may not. But if you select that service, make sure you are on top of that, and that you have the information to be informed of what's going. And I'll sum it up with this. you get, so, and Luke, I listened to you because another excellent consultant trait is that you listen to the clients and their needs. But I was going to say, when you get the phone call from the CFO and you have to go to his or her office to explain what the heck this financials was from last month because you had one of these, but it's actually, I would say, to the CFO and the human resources or the CEO or anybody's office that you as the employer person charged with the cell and gene therapy would like to go. Has your consultant given you the information and the knowledge that in 5 minutes you feel you are prepared to go have the conversation with whomever in your organization you need to have that, and that you can have the conversation that's meaningful to them and talk to them in their language? That would be
Excellent.
success.
That would be success. And Michelle, I saw you leaning into this one, literally. You're really leaning into the camera. Do you want to build on this? You're on mute, by the way, so make sure you're off mute.
Not necessarily build on it, but that's so important. It's to be able to help those in the benefits department to be able to tell their leadership in the language that they understand, what's important for them to hear. And it really is an art for a consultant to be able to provide that language to someone in that way.
Excellent.